Hey there, folks. So, last episode we went through and set up our lean behavior for our character. We'll just jump up quick to preview that. We set that up so we have the ability to lean and look around corners. This episode, though, I wanted to circle back to the ambient temperature stuff. First thing I want to do, though, is I want to fix something I did to the HUD. And this was just for one of the YouTube shorts I created. I wanted to keep a... Actually, no, it wasn't even a short. It was a screenshot I took. Anyways, I just want to fix the formatting so our HUD is correct. I just noticed that wasn't updating. Anyways, so I want to circle back to the temperature system. And what I want to do today is create a heat source actor. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to our C++ classes, public base class, and we're going to take our TF actor. We're going to obviously right click, create a class derived from that. And this one is going to be TF heat source actor. We're going to create that. And I was running Visual Studio, running the editor through Visual Studio. So this is going to take a moment before we can actually do anything there. So I want to wait for the reload prompt to pop up. One thing I will point out, it was mentioned on one of my videos that the font was a little small and hard to read. So I've bumped the font scale up to 125%. So the text is going to look a little bigger within Visual Studio. Come on, give me that reload prompt. Well, while we're waiting on that, I'll actually just run through and explain the reason why we're deriving from TF actor. There we go. Reload all. Do you want to stop debugging? Yes. Turn my sound off. We don't need to hear my Visual Studio beeping. So the reason for that is TF actor already has our save interface hooked in, and it's all set up in there. We have the basic stuff we need there. And it also has our spawned at runtime logic. So a good portion of that's already in there. We do, however, want to expand and include our interaction here because I'm just thinking, do I want... So this is actually something I'll cover quickly before I do it. So we have two choices here. We could do a heat source actor and then an interactive heat source actor. And that's going to be down to how you're wanting, if you're wanting this behavior, like a heat source, how your game is expecting to have that. If you expect to have a lot of them that are non-interactive, or like even a 50-50 split, like a good number of non-interactable heat sources, then you could do separate a normal heat source and an interactive heat source. With mine, I don't plan on having many non-interactive ones, so they're all going to just have the interaction interface. So, but just to go over that, we are going to go through and apply our interface. So we're going to look at our logic here. We had that on our pickup actor, so I'm just going to grab my include there. And the iInteraction interface. Now, something else I could have done here is I could have created a TF actor class and then a TF interactive actor class. But I decided I didn't want to do that because I wanted to add the interfaces independently for that. So I'm going to clean this up a bit here. So with a heat source, actually let's go get these in here. Private, protected, public. So the first thing the heat source is going to need is a sphere component. We're going to be using that for our overlap. So class U sphere component pointer, and that's going to be our heat radius. No, heat zone. That's going to be a U property. Edit defaults only. Blueprint read only. Meta equals allow private access equals true. Copy that. And the other thing you're likely going to want is at least one static mesh. So class U static mesh component pointer world mesh, and then I dug this up. What is it called? Helps if I get spelled right. And then finally, I'm going to grab that property, and then it's a U particle system component. Particle emitter. And the reason for this, just think something like campfire. You're going to want a heat source, things like that, or a particle system to represent your flames. So that is the three components. And then the other thing we are going to want is a float max heat value. And in this one, I am just going to put visible anywhere. Float sphere radius. So now we have that. We're going to want to create our constructor. So we're just going to copy our class name, put that down here. Actually, just want to, yeah, private's fine. Couldn't remember what I had done for the pickup actor. So now we've got that. We're going to go into our source class, header files. So, yeah, source file, not our header file. We can create our constructor just because IntelliSense does not like creating those. So we need our sphere component, static mesh component, and a particle system component headers. So up here, include components, sphere component, include component, static mesh component, include component. Nope. Oh. Okay, let me just move that out of the way. And as I've mentioned before, this is actually a lot of what programming is. Well, not a lot, but it's part of it. UE5, C++, U particle system component include. Yeah, it's not giving me. Okay, let's just U particle system component. That's that. You would think that Google search would bring up their documentation. Well, oh, it didn't. It's not complaining because I didn't put class. Oh, let's see. Heat zone. That is our sphere component, is it not? Yep. Equals create default subobject use sphere component text heat zone. And I'm just going to see if that particle emitter will work without an include. Rolled mesh equals create default subobject use static mesh component text world mesh particle emitter equals create default subobject u particle. Don't need to include on there, but it looks of it. I'm just going to call that emitter. Okay, so we have heat zone, world mesh, and particle system. Those are those three. I'm just going to do this for declaration quickly. So now one thing to remember, you need to account for the fact whatever you're using. Let me pull up the chrono manager here for a second. Whatever value you are using for your base temperature, so in this case I'm using Fahrenheit just because it's a finer scale, you want to keep that in mind. So for the heat source, we want to say, okay, is this going to add 10 degrees Fahrenheit, 20, 30, 40, 50? I'm going to go 50. F. And sphere radius. We're not doing anything here. This is actually something we're going to calculate. Begin play is a protected. Okay, so now heat rate. No, I just mentioned it. Sphere radius. That was it. Sphere radius equals heat zone get. Oh, come on, IntelliSense, load it up. I'm looking for get scaled sphere radius. No, I spelled that wrong. Get scaled sphere radius. It has no inputs. So let me just. So basically, just to explain what I'm trying to achieve here. So you've got, imagine this is a top-down perspective. You've got, no, I want that black, brush, orange. Yeah, you could see my great programmer art skills. And that's also your center point, and everything's going to be based on that. So the reason why I'm wanting to get this radius, which is, for anyone not familiar, that is this distance here, is your fall off. Like when you're right at the very edge of the heat from a campfire, you can just feel it. It's not really going to do much. But if you're, where'd my cursor go? There it is. You're like right next to the campfire, you're really going to feel the heat. So that's actually one thing I forgot to add. Yeah, now you've seen my wonderful programmer art there. That's just sort of what we're wanting to calculate, so we can have an idea how far away from the fire the character is. So that was actually one other thing I wanted to add here. Oh, I completely forgot what they are. They're in here. Float curve. Brain is not wanting to work this evening. No, it was in lighting. Class U curve linear float. That was it. Class U curve linear float. Heat fall off. It's a pointer. All right. So, anyways, there with that. Actually, I'm going to put this as a value of -1 so we know we have a... Did I spell that wrong? Copy that, delete that. Why are you saying that's invalid? Okay, this is annoying me now. Curves, curve float. Linear color, linear color. Yeah. Oh, curve float. Okay, there's no linear, that's why. That would be my special. Oh. All right, so now we have that. Make sure that's edit defaults only, particle system. Yeah. All right, so. And the reason we're grabbing this at begin play, we could do it on construct, but begin play, that just means guarantees it's reset whenever the actor is initialized. So we do need to set up our attachments here, though. So we are going to start with world mesh, set up attachment, root component, heat zone, set up attachment, world mesh, particle emitter, set up okay, so yeah, no, I am missing an include. What is this? Particle system component. Particles. Okay. Some of their filing isn't a great, like their organization. It's a component. I would expect it to be in the component subfolder, but either way. Okay, so particle system, particle emitter, set up attachment. Now again, we're going to put this on the world mesh. All right, so we now have our basic setup here. We do need to add a couple of other things now. First thing we're going to want is the collision overlaps for the heat zone. And just like we did on our player character, let's pull up that source file. And I'm just copy pasting these because these are very basic. Where are they? And they have to be formatted in this specific way for them to work the way I want to do them. So, where did I have those? They were publics. Except instead of interaction, it's going to be heat zone. So, on heat zone overlap begin, on heat zone overlap end. We're going to create those definitions. And we're not going to do anything with them just yet, because we want to make sure we have our bindings. So heat zone on component begin overlap dot add dynamic. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let me just double check. Player character. Let's go to our constructor in here. ATF player character. Yeah, add dynamic, the actor, and then the function. All right, so then it's this ATF heat source actor on heat zone overlap begin, and then heat zone on component begin, end overlap, add dynamic, this reference to ATF heat source actor on heat zone overlap end. All right. So now a couple other things we need to do, obviously, because we have added the interactions interface. We need to implement those functions. So I'm going to actually look at those from our door base, because it's going to be very similar behavior. We want get interaction text. Is it interactable? And saying to interact. Right now we're dealing with a very basic fire. I want to expand this obviously to add fuel and things like that, but that is going to be further down the line. So we're going to grab those three functions that we put into our door, because at a core level those are really all we need, and put these down in the U functions, the public section of our header file. All right, so is interactable. Well, actually what I'm going to do here is we're going to add in some more control variables. So this is going to be something, so like if you want to create something like, let's say a steam vent, and you want that always to be a heat source. I had to sit there and think of something. You would just override this and say interactable heat source is false, because you don't want it to be interactable to be able to, for the player to like turn it on and off. And then we also want this one, actually we don't want edit anywhere, we want visible anywhere. Is activated false. We're going to use that as part of our interact logic. Let's set that up here. And then ftext, we're actually going to add in two more properties here. For edit defaults only, I'm just going to grab that. Enable text, disable text. And the reason for this is, again, so you're going to have things like light and douse, turn on, turn off. You're going to want to be able to have different text depending on the actual object. So what we're going to do is, if it is activated, we're going to return our disable text. Otherwise, we're going to return our enable text. So right here, this is sort of some very basic setup, but obviously we're going to want to deal with some stuff here. So let's create this array, a T array of A actor pointers, actors in range. And this is going to be another visible only one. We don't want to be making changes to this. And then we also want our tick function, because I realize, sorry, missing, where is tick? Oh, what is that called? So this is something, I was digging into it, and I've been messing around. Primary actor tick, that's the one. So there is this tick interval. As you can see there in the description, the frequency in seconds at which this tick function will be executed. If less than or equal to 0, it will tick every frame. So this is a way to get around the need for timers within reason. There's obviously going to be places where you want timers. It's like a one-off thing. You don't want it to tick. It's just like, oh, I'm going to use a very base example, a countdown timer. It's YouTube. I'm not going to say what those are normally used for. I don't want to get in trouble. But so you have a countdown timer. You don't want it to, unless you're visually representing it, you've got a countdown timer that in 10 seconds, something's going to happen. Well, you can just say, okay, create a timer in 10 seconds, execute this logic. Whereas with this, because it's not something we want it to like run, like we want it to run frequent enough that a timer just doesn't give us the degree of accuracy. So, however, there is something I'm going to be doing around that. Primary, actually, I'm going to leave that for now. So, if actors in range dot num equals 0, return. Oh, don't forget the super in there. Super tick delta time. And actually want that up here as well. Super begin play. Oh, I cannot type today. My brain is working faster than my fingers. So this is just our quick fail safe. It's like if we don't have any actors in range, don't worry about this logic. But the other thing, if it's not active, we don't want it doing this. So So with this so if we're not active, or because if it's not active, it doesn't matter how many actors are in range. But we do want this to keep going. But I'll explain that in a moment. So if it's not active, we're not going to execute any of our tick logic. If it is active and we don't have any in range, we're not going to execute any of our tick logic. However, for fuel consumption, if you have a heat source like a campfire that you're going to have fuel, you will want this here. Actually, I'm going to start that. Edit default only. Go back down here. Bool B uses, and I got to go fix some of my other bools actually, uses fuel equals false. B is active and B interactable heat source. I'll fix those in here. No, not, I hit my cap locks there. And then B and B. And B. Is that all the errors? Yep. All right. Sorry, I was just naming conventions. That's one thing I like to do, to start a Boolean with a B. So with that, actually, we're going to cut this part out. If it's not active, we're not going to do anything. If actors in range dot num equals 0, return. But what we're going to do is in here, consume fuel. To do consume fuel logic. Okay. Otherwise, what we're going to do is for const auto a actors in range, f vector act lock equals a dot get actor location. Actually, we don't even need to go that way. Float actor distance equals a get actor location. I need to add the bracket to this. Minus this get actor location dot length and then actor distance divide equals sphere radius and then I'm trying to remember how I planned this out. So just to explain what we're doing while I refresh my own memory. So we're getting how far away the actor is from the center of the actor. We're dividing that by the sphere radius to get a percentile, so a 0 to 1. Like our 1 is we're all the way outside, 0 is we're standing in the middle. Oh yeah, that was it. Float heat multiplier equals heat fall off, get float value actor distance, and then float applied heat equals max heat value value times by heat multiplier. Now, right now, we don't have this applied to... Oh, sorry, we don't have any logic on our... Oh my goodness, right there. On our, like, characters. So we're going to end this here, but then to do cast to stat lines. No, not cast, call to stat line to add heat offset. All right. So the last thing we need to do is down here is if other actor, no, if cast TF, ATF character, other actor does not equal no pointer, so what we're doing here is the other actor we're casting to see, is it one of our characters? And that's something that in my design, I only really worried about actors, like characters, sorry, in the world. I'm not worried about, oh, you put a battery too close to the fire, or you put a plastic cup too close to the fire. As much as I would love to go into that level of detail, that is a little absurd. So I'm going to only worry about that. So what we're doing here is if the actor can be cast to ATF character, actors in range dot add other actor. And then in here, if I remember correctly, it's if actors in range dot contains other actor. Actually, I think this one can just be a checklist. Actors in range, not remove other actor. Removes as many instances of item as there are in the array, maintaining order, but not indexes. That's fine. Item to remove from array. Number of removed items. That's fine there. If there's something I was going to... Nope, I'm not going to do that this one. So with that, though, we're getting to 40 minutes now. So we have some of the basic logic here. Obviously, the interactive isn't set up fully. The... where's my TF factor? There is some of the safe stuff I'm going to want to override, like update from Sade's logic, but we'll see about that potentially later in this episode, if not in the next episode. So what I'm going to do now is build and launch into the editor. This may take a moment just because it's been a while since I've built, and I know I've done some source control updates since then. So I'm going to pause, and I will be back as soon as we're back in the engine. And just after I pause the video, it threw an error, and that is because we are missing the TF factor included at the top here. And let's try that again. So, no, it's still a build error. What do you... ATF character not allowed as an argument to compound. What? Still complaining even though I did that. Okay, let's try something else here. If other actor... I'm trying to think component. I'm just trying to think of ways we could Okay, I know how to do this. So I'm going to undo what I've done, redo that. Let's have a look here, actually. Trying to think. Because I don't like casting, and I don't want to set up a whole interface for that. When I say casting, it's like, what I mean by that is like ATF, character pointer, other TF equals cast. That. Well, let's just see. If is valid other TF. Oh, that's a lowercase o. Won't let me do that. All right. See if other TF does not equal null pointer. And let's see if that builds. I am a complete and utter idiot this evening. Okay, let me go back and fix all of this because I used the wrong include. And there's probably a few of you sitting there going, yeah, you've got the wrong include there. I grabbed actor instead of character. Let's try it. There you go. Let's try this one more time. This will probably work perfectly fine this time. All right, so that build did go through. The editor is going to take a little bit to launch because it's been a moment. So I will be back once we're back in the editor. All right, folks, so we're back in the editor. Apparently it saved my state as unlit. What we're going to do here is in our content browser, I'm going to go into our project folder. For anyone wondering, I've gone through and I'm prepping to work on some animation blueprints. I've pulled in 627 animations that I've got within all my assets. So that's what the third-party animation is. There are ones that I've pulled in from other packages. But anyway, so into our blueprint folder, into the dev folder, right-click, blueprint class, and then heat source. So TF heat source actor. Dev campfire. And so in here you can see we have our world mesh. Actually, I think I pulled a campfire in. I did indeed. Our heat zone, we are going to scale that up. Is it going to let me? No, it's not. I thought I made that. Oh, it did. Oh, it was just because I was scaling it off. So we're going to do that to about that size there. And what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to hop back into here and on our begin overlap, going to throw a breakpoint in there, and then our tick for the, I'm going to put it on the const auto for actors in range, because in that way we're not going to worry about any of these exit cases. We'll go back into our project here, and for now I'm not going to worry about a particle emitter. I'm just going to hit that. Oh no. we do need to and the reason for this is if statements are, just to be clear, is because in here we want to turn our particle emitter off and on. Be active equals false, otherwise be active true. That we should be able to live compile that with no issues. So compile and save this. I'm going to move these out of the way and do a quick live compile. Heat source actor, yep, it caught that. All right, so I'm going to put that in. Is it going to let me scale that down here, actually? Yes, it is. So I'm going to do that. Nope, don't want to do that. I'm going to move that over there. Hit play, and hopefully this is going to work. So okay, so we do have, because of our interaction trigger, we are going to need to account for that. Ignore. Yeah, so we are in there now. Right, continue. Attempting to use cast on types that are not related. Did that just blow things up? No? Okay, so our interaction trigger obviously is, I'm going to get rid of that breakpoint so we know this is working, but it is catching our interaction trigger. Okay. And we don't have any interaction there, so let's see. And I set that up to be true by default, right? Interactable heat source, yep. So back in here. Yeah, okay, so those are accurate. So we're hitting that now. There we go. Okay, so 4 actors in range, and this is the part I wanted to test, so. So you can see our sphere radius is 224 units. We are now at 0.05. We have an access violation. Oh, I know what I've done there. So we're going to stop this here. What did we do for the player character? I remember we had this issue already. Was it that? No, there was something else. Was it in the player character, the tree logic? Might have been in the tree. Anyways, we're going to go back in here. And I'm pretty sure this is what that access violation is. It was a no longer valid actor. Other component, static class, does not equal uSphere component. Static class, I believe, will fix that issue there. So I'm going to do this, launch back into the editor, and again, I'm going to pause the video, and I will be back as soon as the editor's up and running. Alright, so we're back in the editor here, and actually I'm going to do one quick change to make this a little easier. Select the heat zone, hidden in game. I'm going to disable that for now. That way it's actually going to show up. So move that over here, and I'm actually going to do that in the blueprint as well. Actually, viewport heat zone. Scale it down slightly. Let's say to about 7. Compile and save that. Yeah, that's more like it. All right, so let's try this again. And my chair is making a lot of noise apparently. All right, so there, let's see. Okay, we can get, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Other actor, other component. Okay, I'm going to have to do some work on there. We might need to actually add a character interface. So campfire, let's see, actors in range, we've only got 1. Okay, it adds it in twice. So I think we're gonna have to add a unique actually. Okay. Yeah, that's still throwing an error. Add unique. Other actor. Let's see if that fixes our issue. So knowing that, let's just get rid of this. Yeah, get rid of that. And we'll try this one more time. So as always, I'll pause and I'll be back once the editor's up. All right, the editor's back up. And actually, before I blow things up again, throw you back in here. And I'm actually going to save the map this time. So we'll try this again. Oh, my temperature's broken. Oh, no, campfire. Okay, so. Okay, we only have 1. I'm going to activate it. Wait a second. No. There we go. Activated. Okay, so actors in range should only be 1. Oh, I know what it is. And this is going to throw... Yep. I'm an idiot, and we completely forgot our fall-off curve. This is what I get for recording an episode at midnight. So, with that, just while we load up the editor again, it's actually loading up pretty fast now, so I think I've launched it enough times. So, let's try this one last time. Then it should work this time. So, go into our data folder, our curves, and I'm going to do some organization in here between episodes, because this is starting to get messy. Curve, float curve, campfire, heat, fall off. Not fall out, fall off. So we want to add 2 keys. So middle click. We want one key to be at the 1 position, the other key to be at the 0 position. Just quickly get those on the screen. So at the 1 position, we want, 0 position, we want it to have a value of 1. And then I'm going to add another key there. I'm going to drag it up slightly. Turn off the magnet snapping to points. Gonna add another key here just to get a rough heat fall off, and then I'm gonna auto curve that. It's a little too linear and not sharp enough. Fall off for my liking. Adjust these tangents a bit. All right, so save that. Dev campfire. Curves. Campfire heat fall off. Okay, we'll try this one more time, and then I'm going to do some code updates just to make sure this sort of error can't actually kill the game. So, campfire, just so we can see that is active. And that's just here for anyone interested. I'm seeing this, like, using that to tell. So, I'm on the first person for ease. It's now active. And it's not doing anything. So, however, that is going to work there. Let this go through its next tick. Actually, what I'm going to do, continue, drop out of here quickly. Float, debug, applied heat equals 0. And because we are only worried about that one, this should do what we need here. Now, I do want to quickly cover, actually, sorry, quick change, not even change a topic, but quick side topic. The reason for this is once we get to things like AI, I do want to actually have things like friendly, you can't see me doing air quotes, but friendly NPCs are able to come up, find a heat source and stand around and warm up. And I want this to be applied to all of them. And like if a character gets too hot, then they're going to walk away from the fire, sort of thing. So, anyways, we've got that. Let's do a quick live code. Oh, and did I set that as a visible or a... Okay, it's a visible. Oh, now it wants to take some time. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to let this live code finish. And I'll be back as soon as it's done. And about 2 seconds after I hit pause, the live code finished. So move that out of the way. I'm going to launch into play. What broke this time? That is probably what... I didn't recompile the blueprint. These are some of the weird quirks that I've found with Unreal Engine. You can do things like live code. If anyone watched the stream the other day that they did, the live stream of, or it's now, I think it's on their VODs on the Epic channel, when to use C++ and when to use blueprints. It was a pretty common opinion that live coding sucks. And I personally try not to use it. I'm going to figure out what's broken there. Okay. There we go, debug applied heat. So, okay, let's just go in the first person, run over, we're in there. Activate it. Okay, you can see applied heat is 2.1. As we get closer, it goes up. As we get further away, so we need to clamp that value because it's apparently going negative. Yeah, so you can see that is doing what we were hoping for. Apparently it's caused me to fall. Okay, that's a weird glitch. Try that again. So you can see sphere radius is 226. We're not active, so it's not doing anything. Come on, activate. There we go. 15. We head back out to third person. It doesn't make any change, but we got yeah, so and that can all change. Like if we open up the fall off curve, you can see it's actually pretty steep here. Well, it's pretty quick fall off. But if we do something like this, and actually I'm going to put that, that should keep it from a negative value. I'll try that one more time, and then I'll put in that error handling code, and I'll call it an episode. Shift F1. Okay, so we are in. I really got to figure out why those bounds aren't working. So you can see there, we're pretty close to it. We're at 38. Still getting a negative number, like right there. So obviously, somewhere on this curve, yeah, right in here, you can see it drops below 0. But anyways, so that shows that we're working with that heat source is working. Again, I'm not a visual artist, so between episodes, I'm going to find a fire effect. I'm going to bring that over. Let's see if there's anything else editor side. Nope. So hop out of that. So now just that error handling. What I'm going to do here is if what do we call that? That is the heat fall off. Going to work for that. Primary actor tick dot pause. No. Can ever tick equals false. I'm not 100% sure this one actually works. If it does, I'm actually going to be changing some of the logic around this as well. Also going to throw that in there as just a fail-safe. So. All right. So, anyways, while this loads up, I will just talk about a couple things quick. So I did mention last episode, a couple in the comments, as well as a few posts on the community page. I have finally hit that point where the frequency of episodes is going to be slowing down. They're not going to be coming out every day like they have been. Right now, I think I can push out 2 episodes a week. I shouldn't say push out. I should be able to do 2 episodes a week. I'm looking at probably doing those for Tuesdays and Thursdays for the release on those. And then for things like the tutorial series, like my bite-sized tutorials, or the things like the level sculpting. Well, actually, bite-sized tutorials, I'll probably do a Friday or a Saturday release. Once I get into the swing of that, I haven't decided which day for those yet. And then Things like the map design and stuff, that'll just be as and when I do them. So, but anyway, so let's go through here and just quickly see if our error handling is working. So we're going to clear that. Go back, actually just compile and save that quick. Launch in here. This should hit our breakpoint. Okay, and then I'm going to throw a breakpoint there because this should never hit now if that actually worked. No, that doesn't. Yeah, okay. There's got to be something else in there. I know you can stop tick. Primary actor tick dot. Set ting folk. I think that might actually be it. But either way, and then in here, ignore. It's going to. Yes, I know it no longer matches. But yeah, it'll drop out. So hit continue. All right, that's working there now. Why is the HUD broken? I thought I fixed that. Oh, I still have the logging in there. I'm going to turn that off. Compile and save that. And let's see. Oh, I know what I did. I connected it to the format pin, not the temp pin. Temp, just put an asterisk for now. I'm not going to dig up character map for that. Okay, let's try again. And I bet my chrono manager is set to a long time, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, now let's try this again. Just make sure that is working on the HUD for the temp. Yeah, it is updating. All right, so with that, folks, we've got this episode's what I wanted to get covered in this episode wrapped up. We've got our heat source actor created. We have a heat multiplier that it's going to be adjusting based how far away the actor is from the source. Actually, I want to quickly show you here. If I expand this out, so that's one thing I didn't cover. No. Wow, I cannot spell. Campfire. We're in range. Just hop over and activate it. And because we have no curve, it's not working. And close the HUD. Open the campfire. Curve campfire. We'll apply that. Okay, let's try this one more time. We're activated, and you can see right up here, we're at 49 because we're really close, or 50. Again, we want to clamp that, but as we move further away, like we're right out here, you can see that gets right down to a very low number. So that actually covers everything. So as I've mentioned a couple points in the episode, between episodes I'm going to do some further investigation to figure out how to not detect the sphere component. And then also we've got that. We've got the add unique, so it's only in there once. So, and as I mentioned, I'm going to pull over a particle system for the fire. Not detect sphere. Sorry, I was making a note for myself. All right. With that, though, folks, as always, thank you for watching. If there is any comments, concerns, questions, suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like I said at the start of the episode, there was a comment that the text was too small to read properly in Visual Studio, so I've increased the font size there. I'm quite happy to make any adjustments to make things easier for you guys, within reason, of course. If this isn't big enough, I don't really think I can go much bigger, because 150% is just too big for me. So put that back to 125. But yeah, so thank you for watching, folks. Comments, questions, suggestions, concerns, throw them in the comments, and I will see you in the next episode.